So we're now going to move on to our next speaker, and he is here, I hope. I've not checked, and he is Wasif Mahmood. Sorry, man, it's not my fault.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. I'm not going to get eloquent and as passionate as some of the other people, because those are the ones that really suffered, and they're the ones that really have a story to tell. I mean, I think everyone was giving some quotes and giving some facts and figures, and there's a very simple quote I think that I wanted to start with, which is, I think, very apt, and that's simply this: is the difference between a rut and a grave is the grave's depth. So this is what a lot of these businesses are in. They're in a rut, and what's the difference between what we can do to help them? Well, this is something that I've tried to look at. As we've got no mic, I'll let you that part. So yeah, I'll go with my notes now. So basically, I'm here today to tell you that we at backbridgebusiness.com are launching a very special legal service that is aimed at helping the thousands of businesses, freelancers, company directors, and by extension, individuals and their families that are worried and finding difficulty in paying back their coronavirus business interruption loans and bounce back loans, and to challenge them. Many businesses and people believed the bounce back loans would be a guarantee from the government to them to make sure that they were able to stave off the unthinkable position of not being able to trade for a few months to get back to trading. 12 weeks. 12 weeks. That was the statement being communicated by government a year and a half ago on how long this pandemic would last and how long businesses could not be expected to trade. That statement was not made by a man wearing a tinfoil hat. It was made by the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. For a short window of 12 weeks, this amount of support was a reasonable fix. However, when the lockdown entered its 18th month and businesses having no way of making any money in that period were naturally at breaking point, if not already having fallen off the edge, the government had already supported employees and the self-employed, so why would they not offer those same protections and afford them to directors and freelancers? At backbridgebusiness.com, we know that the main benefactor of the CBILS, or the coronavirus business interruption loans, to give it its full name, and the bounce back loans were and are the banks, not the average business director taking a small dividend or freelancers. The guarantee, which for others had been given in the form of grants and sustained payments, were exposed as a sham. It was to the banks that a guarantee was given. Those who had already been bailed out 10 years earlier through the population's money were once again benefiting from a 2.5% windfall for doing nothing more than passing money on to their customers. For the pleasure, they now get to claim on guarantees that will see them benefit from the government where such loans cannot be repaid and where the businesses have suffered losses far in excess of what they originally borrowed due to extended lockdowns. At backbridgebusiness.com, we say enough is enough. While we are and remain an apolitical body, we cannot stand by and see millions of families and individuals suffer such avoidable losses. We say that leaders are failing to address the extreme pressures that struggling UK companies who took out such loans during the COVID-19 crisis are now under, and believe that the campaign can save those who are now crippled with debt. Defaults on bounce back loans and coronavirus business interruption loans could run to as high as £22 billion, and that's a conservative figure, if estimates from the Office of Budget Responsibility are correct, according to the latest figures. £22 billion of such defaults would represent around 30% of the roughly £74 billion lent under the schemes. Tens of thousands of firms are facing ruin as they grapple with repayments, but Backbridge Business has now launched a legal campaign to get these loans written off in whole or in part. The CBIL and the Bounce Back Loan Scheme has been very careful to avoid offering the normal protections that consumers and businesses could expect from banks. There is no claim under the Consumer Credit Act, which for nearly half a century has been the bedrock of consumer support. By removing this protection, the government took away a basic right of UK citizens to ask if their loan was fairly sold to them. The provisions of the Financial Services and Markets Act, the legislation that provides what a bank must do and how it is to act and behave, were also meant to have been removed. But we at backbritishbusiness.com believe the legislation may still be applicable here, so we're not writing that off completely. Backbritishbusiness.com has identified effectively a legal chink in the government's armour which could save many entrepreneurs and help this country's recovery from the coronavirus pandemic and the economic devastation that it's left in its wake. We have identified a claim under common law as the loans have been frustrated by the extended lockdowns. The courts can look at whether or not it is right that these loans have been repaid in whole or in part using equitable principles. Sorry for the legal speak, by the way. I am a lawyer, so you know what, you have to kind of let me layman it up for you in a one-to-one. What that means for you is that we can challenge the provisions of the loan agreement you have entered into and look at either writing it off in whole or in part or renegotiate those particular terms. We are arguing that the loans are unreasonable and unenforceable due to the repeated lockdowns and confused guidance as the pandemic unfolded, with many businesses wrongly believing that they were able to quickly carry on trading. Our campaign calls on the government to consider this appeal to save small businesses and to write off loans, if not in total, then in part. We are writing to the banks and then in turn to the Financial Ombudsman to challenge the repayments. We believe that the government will benefit financially by saving such companies who will then continue to be able to contribute to the state through other means, the tax. There were more than 300,000 applications for bounce back loans in the first week, and now there are 1.6 million bounce back loans and coronavirus business interruption loans in total. Our campaign has identified many businesses in areas such as hospitality, aviation, catering, travel to be particularly vulnerable. Allowing these businesses to go to the wall is in nobody's interest. If you have some of these companies back up and running, the Treasury has the opportunity for more corporation tax, national insurance payments, more income tax and VAT earnings. It is madness for the government to allow these competent and viable businesses to fail.
Hear, hear.
And we want that to stop. The taxpayer will benefit in the long run, and the government must see that. The biggest part of state expenditure has always been welfare, and there could be further pressure in that area if jobs are lost in this way. We have a small window and we must act to get the government to change course and save these businesses. The issue is this: should these businesses now be chased by the government, in many cases into insolvency? Insolvencies are already rising fast. Figures, September there were 1,446 insolvencies. That's 100 more than the month before, and a 56% rise than the same amount the year previously. Or should they be given the opportunity to get back into trading? This is about the government recognising that the pandemic lasted far longer than it predicted, and that the companies who took these loans are in trouble, and providing proper support for these businesses to survive. In conclusion, we are using the law in this way as we believe it is our duty to help build back British business and this country's economy. I would urge all of you to go to our website, backbritishbusiness.com, it's over there, and see how we may be able to help you. We have created a simple website for applicants, and hopefully it's a smooth process. This is the fight back, because now is the only way we get justice, and the only way we do that is to take legal action. I urge you all to sign up, and let's back British business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wasif. And he's a lawyer, and did you notice I got every finger back then as well?